The rain had been louder than the alarms. That was what Seraphine remembered most. Not the shouting. Not the bodies rushing past. Not the emergency strobes carving the world into white slices. The rain. It had poured over Northern Academy like the sky was punishing the ground for daring to exist. Gravel became mud. Uniforms clung like wet cloth bandages. Visibility shrank to silhouettes and panic. She had been 17. Too young for political armor. Too new to power to understand how quickly safety could be taken from you. And too naive to think a simulation could ever become real. "Stay with your unit," someone shouted. But the flare exploded too close. Light, heat, smoke. It swallowed her whole. She coughed hard enough to taste copper. The world became a wet, burning blur. People ran, someone slammed into her shoulder, and she stumbled sideways, slipping in mud, trying to breathe, trying to find the edge of the chaos. And then she was alone. Alone in the smoke. Alone in the rain. Her throat tightened with something childish and humiliating. "Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry." She tried to move. Something caught her foot. She went down hard, gravel biting through fabric. Her hands scraped raw. The rain stung like needles. She couldn't see. For a terrifying second, she couldn't even tell which way was up. She heard boots. Heavy, controlled, coming toward her, not running away. The boots stopped. A shadow blocked the broken light. Then hands, strong, sure, hooked under her arms and pulled her upright like she weighed nothing. "Can you stand?" The voice was steady. Low. Unshaken. Seraphine tried to answer, but the rain filled her mouth, and the smoke swallowed her words. She shook her head. No shame. Just truth. The alpha crouched without hesitation. "Okay," she said, like they were discussing something ordinary, like this wasn't chaos. "Hold on." Arms wrapped around Seraphine. Secure, certain, no flinch, no disgust, no impatience. And somehow, through mud and smoke, Seraphine registered the scent. Rain. Metal. Warmth. Her body, still trembling, stopped fighting the world. She buried her face into the alpha's shoulder. And for the first time in her life, she felt safe. Present day. The security drill alarm echoed through Laurent headquarters. It should have been routine. It was routine. But when the tone hit that particular frequency, sharp, urgent, too similar, Seraphine's breath stopped. Not intentionally. Her body simply did it before her mind could give permission. The boardroom disappeared. The polished marble became wet gravel. The distant hum of technology became rain. Her heart lurched, her skin chilled. Arden's earpiece crackled. Simulation breach on the West Corridor. Repeat West Corridor. Arden's attention snapped instantly into motion. Her posture changed in a way Seraphine had come to recognize. Not fear, not panic, decision. Arden's head tilted slightly towards Seraphine. Her voice was calm, but it wasn't soft. "Behind me." 2 steps vanished. Arden moved in front. Shield first. Exactly the way she had done it years ago. Seraphine's throat tightened so hard it almost hurt. For a second, she didn't move. Not because she was frozen. Because she was caught between time. The breach team rushed down the hallway, boots thudding, weapons dummy-marked for drills. Arden widened her stance. One hand extended subtly behind her, open, not grabbing, but available. Not touching. Close enough to reach. Seraphine didn't think. She reached. Her fingers curled around Arden's sleeve. The contact, brief and small, hit both of them like static. Arden's shoulder tensed. Seraphine's breath hitched. Then Arden spoke. Not into her comms, not to the team. To Seraphine. "Stay with me." The words slipped out like they belonged to Arden more than the present did. Seraphine went very still. Because those exact words had once pulled her out of smoke. They had once anchored her to a body that didn't let go. Flashback. I can't see, 17-year-old Seraphine whispered. Her voice sounded too small in all that noise. The alpha tightened her hold, lifting her fully. You don't need to. A pause, steady breath against Seraphine's wet hair. Stay with me. Rain pounded over both of them. The alpha's jaw was set, quiet determination, not anger. Mud streaked her cheek. A bruise was swelling under one eye. She didn't look down much. She didn't need to. She moved through chaos like it already owed her obedience. Seraphine clung. And for the first time in her life, she didn't feel like a burden. She felt like someone worth carrying. Present. The drill ended. Footsteps retreated. Radios softened into routine chatter. The air returned to sterile, corporate calm. Seraphine released Arden's sleeve. But the warmth of that contact lingered like a ghost on her skin. Arden turned halfway, scanning the corridor one last time before her eyes landed on Seraphine. Professional, but not entirely distant. You all right? Arden asked. It was the simplest question, and it sounded almost unfamiliar in Arden's mouth, like she didn't often ask it. Seraphine swallowed. I'm fine. Arden didn't accept it blindly. Her gaze flicked once, breathing posture, the way Seraphine's shoulders held tension a fraction too high. Your pulse spiked. Seraphine almost smiled. Of course Arden would say that. You always move like that, Seraphine said quietly. Arden's brow tightened. Like what? Like you've already decided nothing will touch me. Arden's eyes sharpened, not offended, not flattered. Just direct. That is literally my job. Seraphine's gaze drifted to the faint scar near Arden's collarbone, barely visible under the collar of her dark uniform. The sight triggered another fragment, mud, rain, and the outline of a bruise. You carried someone once, Seraphine said gently. Arden blinked. I've carried a lot of people. In the rain, Seraphine added, softer. Something moved behind Arden's eyes. Not memory. Not yet. But a ripple. Rain. Smoke. Weight against her chest. Arden exhaled once. I don't remember specifics. Seraphine nodded like she hadn't expected anything else. Of course Arden didn't. To Arden, it had been a mission. To Seraphine, it had been the beginning of everything. Later that evening, the sky darkened naturally. No drills, no alarms. Just real rain, tapping the glass like a quiet insistence. Seraphine stood by the window in her private office. Arden stood near the door. 2 steps. Always 2. Seraphine didn't turn when she spoke. Do you ever forget people you save? Arden answered without hesitation. Yes. The honesty was clean. Almost brutal. Seraphine's fingers curled lightly against the window frame. Why? Arden's voice lowered slightly, not tender, but more personal than usual. Because if I remembered all of them, I'd start measuring my worth by who I couldn't save. A pause. And that will break you. Seraphine's chest tightened. That was the closest thing to confession Arden had given all week. I understand, Seraphine whispered. Rain streaked down the glass, bending city lights into wavering lines. You were different, Seraphine said, so quietly it almost blended into the rain. Arden's eyes narrowed. I was. You didn't hesitate. I rarely do. You didn't look at me like I was weak. Silence. Then Arden did something she didn't seem to realize she was doing. She stepped closer. Not 2 steps. 1. The distance between them changed. And the air changed with it. I don't see Omegas as weak, Arden said. Seraphine turned at last. Moonlight traced her face, composed, beautiful, and tired in a way no board member ever got to witness. Most alphas do. I'm not most alphas. Their eyes held. Not heat, not instinct. Something quieter. Recognition trying to rise through ice. Rain tapped harder. Arden's pulse quickened. She felt it, hated it, tried to drown it in training. But a fragment hit her anyway. Mud on her boots. A smaller figure clinging to her uniform. A trembling voice near her ear. Please don't let go. Arden's breath stilled. Her voice came out rougher than intended. Did I say something to you? Seraphine's heart slammed once, hard. Yes. Arden's eyes didn't blink. What did I say? Seraphine stepped closer too. Close enough now that the space between them wasn't accident. It was decision. You said I was safe. Arden's jaw tightened. Rain memory surged stronger. Not faces. Not names. But feeling. Weight in her arms. Cold rain against heated skin. The instinct to shield. The certainty. Arden swallowed slowly. I would have, she said, like she was trying to convince herself. Seraphine's mouth curved into the smallest smile. You did. A pause stretched. Neither of them stepped back. For the first time since the contract began. Arden didn't retreat. And Seraphine didn't pretend it was coincidence. Captain Vale, Seraphine said softly. Arden's gaze flicked to her lips, then back to her eyes, so fast it could have been imagined. Yes. Why did you accept this contract? Arden should have given the safe answer. Money, duty, reputation. Instead, the truth slipped out. I was curious. Seraphine's eyes softened. About what? About why you requested me. Seraphine held her gaze, steady and unguarded for one rare second. Have you figured it out? Arden's throat moved. Not fully. But something inside her was shifting, like a door remembering how to open. No, Arden admitted. Seraphine turned back toward the rain. That's all right, she whispered. I have enough memory for both of us. Arden stayed longer than protocol required. Listening to rain against glass. Watching Seraphine's reflection, perfect posture, imperfect breathing. And somewhere beneath Arden's discipline, a quiet realization formed. This wasn't random. And whatever had happened in the rain years ago, it hadn't been forgettable. Even if she'd forced herself to forget it.